The great Galactic Council chamber was a marvel of alien engineering. Vast columns of living crystal rose into the air, glowing faintly as if they were breathing. The domed ceiling shimmered with shifting lights that mirrored the stars outside. Beneath this awe-inspiring roof sat representatives of dozens of species, scaled, feathered, tentacled, armored, each one radiating power and pride. At the very center of the chamber stood one figure who seemed out of place. A man, human, tall, lean, with sharp eyes that betrayed neither fear nor weakness. His name was Ambassador Kalen Miles, Earth's youngest representative, chosen not for experience, but for his sharp tongue and his unshakable will. He stood on the speaking platform, hands clasped behind his back, while the noise of alien voices swelled all around him. They spoke in 100 different languages, translated by the chamber's system into a unified tone. But the message was the same: mockery. "The human world imagines ghosts in the dark," hissed one reptilian delegate, his scales gleaming green under the chamber lights. "Earth believes it is wise enough to guide us? They are still climbing out of their caves," barked a four-eyed senator from the Trivac system. Laughter followed, a roar of cruel amusement that rolled through the hall. Kalen did not flinch. He waited. When the noise reached its peak, he raised his hand and the sound died down, though not out of respect, more out of curiosity. His voice carried through the chamber, calm yet firm. "A shadow fleet is coming. Entire star systems will burn. You must prepare." The words hung in the air like a blade. But then, as if on cue, the laughter returned, louder this time. The chamber echoed with it, mocking, jeering. Some slapped their tentacles on their desks in rhythm. Others hissed insults. "Shadows? Superstition," shouted a broad-shouldered warlord species. "Earth still believes in fairy tales. They want attention, nothing more." Kalen's jaw tightened. His dark eyes scanned the room, memorizing each sneer, each cruel smirk. Slowly, his lips curved into something between a smile and a warning. "Mock us if you want," he said softly, his tone cutting through the laughter like a blade through silk. "But when the darkness comes, humanity will not fall. We will rise, and when we rise, you will remember this day." For a moment, silence. A strange unease rippled through the chamber. Some alien eyes narrowed, others shifted uncomfortably. But then the loudest voice of all, a hulking ambassador from the Kraith Dominion, leaned forward and boomed, "Rise? Humanity? You are but dust among stars. Your kind is young, weak, fragile. We will remember this day, but only for your arrogance." The chamber exploded again with laughter. Kalen did not argue. He let their laughter wash over him like fire over steel. Then, without another word, he stepped down from the platform. His boots echoed on the crystal floor, the sound sharp, deliberate. Outside the chamber, in the quieter marble halls, a young woman hurried to catch up with him. She was his aide, Leah Verdun, barely 25, her eyes wide with worry. "Ambassador," she whispered, glancing around as though the walls themselves might be listening. "They didn't believe a word, not one." "What if they never believe us?" Kalen stopped walking. He turned to her, and for the first time since entering the chamber, his expression shifted. Not defeat, not fear, but something colder. "Resolve forged from fire, then we'll show them," he said. His voice was low, but it carried weight, the kind of weight that comes when a man has already accepted the price of his path. Leah swallowed hard. She wanted to argue, but there was nothing to say. She followed him in silence, their footsteps fading into the distance. Far away, at the edge of the galaxy, the stars burned quietly. Colonies bustled with life, unaware of the shadow closing in. It began as whispers, a trade ship gone silent, a mining station failing to report. But soon the truth became undeniable. The darkness Kalen had spoken of was real. From the void emerged the first wave of the enemy. No one knew their name, not yet. They were shapes like living nightmares, black ships with jagged hulls that seemed to drink in the light. Their weapons cut through orbital defenses like paper. Cities crumbled in firestorms. Entire settlements vanished in hours. On the Council's secure networks, panicked reports flooded in. Colony lost, no survivors. Unknown fleet advancing. Back in the heart of the galaxy, the alien leaders still feasted and laughed, oblivious to how close doom had already come. They remembered the humans' warning only as a moment of amusement, a tale to retell at banquets. But somewhere deep inside their pride, a small seed of unease had been planted. The memory of Kalen Miles standing alone, calm in the storm of their ridicule, his words echoing like prophecy. When the darkness comes, humanity will not fall. We will rise. The seed of fear would grow. And soon the galaxy would learn the truth, that Earth's warning was not a plea for help. It was a promise, and the promise was about to be kept. The council chamber had already forgotten Kalen Miles, or at least they pretended to, across the galaxy. The great alien news networks played their recordings of his speech, not with respect but with mockery. Holographic panels showed his calm face frozen mid-sentence, his warning replayed with sarcastic commentary layered over it. The humans claim shadows will burn our stars, a Trivax anchor sneered, his 4 eyes blinking out of sync. Perhaps they fear the dark like frightened children. A popular Satari channel broadcast a comedy sketch where an actor, dressed in an oversized human suit, ran around screaming, "Shadows, shadows," while aliens laughed in the background. The audience roared with approval. On world after world, Earth's warning became a joke. A meme, but not on Earth. Ambassador Kalen returned home in silence, his shuttle descending through Earth's blue skies like a wounded bird. At the spaceport, cameras flashed. Reporters shouted, "Ambassador, did the Council reject your warning? Is Earth isolated? Do you regret embarrassing humanity on the galactic stage?" Kalen ignored them all. His jaw was tight, his eyes cold. He walked straight into the waiting convoy that carried him to the heart of Earth's United Assembly. Inside the great chamber, the mood was different. Leaders sat in grim silence as Kalen stood before them. He did not repeat his words. He didn't need to. Every intelligence report confirmed what he already knew. Colonies near the rim were falling, a mining outpost on Varys III, gone. A research station at Clyden's Reach, wiped out. An entire moon colony in the Grath Belt, silent. The reports arrived daily. The Council called them pirate attacks, but Earth's analysts saw the patterns. It was a campaign, deliberate and merciless. Kalen's voice was steady when he spoke. "The galaxy mocks us. Let them laugh. They think we are weak, blind, unprepared. But we are not. For decades we have prepared for this very moment. Humanity will stand alone if we must." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Some leaders frowned, others nodded grimly. A senior general, silver-haired and stern, rose to speak. "The Aegis Protocol is ready," he said. "Our fleets have trained in silence. Our weapons are hidden, our soldiers hardened in secret wars. The Council believes we are a backwater. They do not know the truth." Leah Verdon, Kalen's aide, stood by his side, her face pale. She whispered only for him to hear. "They'll keep mocking us. They won't listen until the fire reaches them." Kalen glanced at her, his eyes burning with quiet certainty. "Then the fire will reach them." Meanwhile, far across the stars, the Council continued its charade. At a lavish banquet, alien dignitaries toasted their arrogance. Goblets of liquid light clinked together as they ridiculed Earth's doomsday tales. "They warned us of shadows, and yet, look around you," laughed a feathered ambassador, spreading his wings wide. "The stars still shine." A Kraith warlord slammed his clawed fist on the table, laughing so hard his armored plates rattled. "I almost pity them. Poor humans crying out for attention. Perhaps we should give them a toy fleet to play with." The laughter rolled on, filling the great halls of the Council's inner worlds. But beneath the layers of arrogance, whispers began to stir. Small, almost unnoticeable, an Asari merchant muttered over a drink. "They said the mining station at Varys III fell." "Entirely destroyed," another replied, nervous. "Yes, but pirates could not have done that." "The defenses were strong." Silence followed. Neither dared to say the word, but both felt it pressing on their minds. What if the humans were right? Back on Earth, preparations deepened. Vast shipyards hidden behind the shadow of Neptune's orbit lit up with activity. Warships, sleek and angular, slid from dry docks into the void. Each one carried weapons the galaxy had never seen. Soldiers trained in brutal conditions, hardened by simulations that mirrored the worst battles of history. They fought in silence, away from the galaxy's gaze, their loyalty sharpened into something unbreakable. In underground vaults, the Aegis Protocol pulsed to life, an AI defense network designed not only to guide fleets, but to think like a predator, adaptive and merciless. Kalen stood in the control room, watching as the first activation sequence completed. Rows of screens lit up, showing the readiness of fleets, armies, satellites. Humanity's war machine, hidden for decades, was awake. He spoke to the generals around him. Earth will not beg. We warned them. They laughed. Now we act. When the Shadow Fleet comes, it will meet us first. And still the Council mocked. Alien broadcasters replayed Kalen's speech once more, cutting his words into fragments. The galaxy's laughter ended in fire. It began on the Council world of Rhinoris Prime, a glittering jewel among the core systems. Its towers of glass and crystal reached so high they pierced the clouds. Its skies shimmered with endless streams of trade ships, each carrying wealth, art, and culture. The Council often boasted that Rhinoris Prime was proof of civilization's triumph. It was a world that had never seen war, that illusion, shattered in a single night. The first sign came, when the defense satellites went dark, every one of them all at once. The planet's command center scrambled, shouting across comms, "Signal lost!" No response from the orbital grid. Then the sky split open. Out of the void poured shapes of black metal, jagged and alive like shards of night itself. The Zaith Dominion had come. Their warships did not broadcast warnings. They did not demand surrender. They simply descended, weapons glowing, their shadows blotting out the stars. On the ground, the people of Rhinoris stared upward in horror. For many, it was the first time they had seen warships in their skies. Some thought the Council fleet would arrive any second. Others whispered in disbelief, "This cannot be real. We are safe. We are the core." But no fleet came. The bombardment began. Columns of fire rained down, tearing through cities like paper. Towers collapsed. Entire districts turned to ash. The screams of billions filled the comms, but they were drowned beneath the roar of destruction. The Council's military outposts tried to respond, but their weapons were hacked, silenced, useless. In minutes, the pride of the core world became rubble, and then the truth spread across the galaxy. Hollow feeds that once mocked Earth now showed burning cities and desperate faces. Reporters choked back fear as they broadcast the fall of Rhinoris Prime. In real time, the galaxy watched one of its richest worlds consumed by shadow. In the Council chamber, chaos erupted. Ambassadors shouted over one another, panic breaking their polished dignity. They were supposed to attack the Rim. How did they reach the core so fast? Our fleets are unprepared. The Kraith warlord, who once mocked humanity with booming laughter, slammed his fist against the table. Not in arrogance this time, but in fear. "This is no pirate fleet," he growled. "This is war." A silence fell. And then, from the shadows of the chamber, a single delegate spoke with a voice as cold as steel. It was Kalen Miles. He had been summoned back, dragged before them again, this time not as a jester to mock, but as a prophet whose words had come true. He stood at the center, his calm composure unchanged, though his eyes carried a quiet fire. "You laughed at us. You called us children. You ignored our warning. And now one of your own worlds burns," the chamber seethed. Some shouted at him, desperate to hide their shame. Others stared at him in silence, the weight of their error pressing down on them. Kalen's voice did not waver. "This is only the beginning. The Zaith will not stop. They will consume system after system, until there is nothing left. You have no plan, no preparation. And so you ask me, the human you mocked, what should be done?" For the first time, the Council had no answer. Far away on Earth, the United Assembly received the broadcasts of Rhinoris Prime's destruction. The chamber was silent as the last image came through. A once proud city crumbling in flames, its towers collapsing like falling stars. Kalen's aide, Leah Verdun, stood at his side, her face pale with shock. "They believe you now," she whispered. Kalen did not smile. His jaw was hard, his eyes dark. "No, they fear me. There's a difference." Behind him, Earth's generals stood ready, the Aegis protocol humming in the underground vaults, fleets waiting in silence. Humanity had prepared for this day. The Council had not. And somewhere in the darkness, the Zaith fleet turned its eyes toward the next world. The galaxy's age of arrogance was over. The age of fire had begun. The fall of Rhinoris Prime changed everything. No longer could the Council laugh at Earth's warnings. No longer could they dismiss Kalen Miles as a paranoid human. The Shadow Fleet was real, and it had struck at the very heart of the galaxy. Yet even as fear gripped the Council, paralysis ruled their actions. Endless debates filled the chamber. Who should lead? Which fleets to mobilize? Which systems to protect? Every faction argued for its own survival, unwilling to sacrifice ships for others. While the Council stalled, humanity moved. Far from the core, Earth's secret fleet stirred. Hidden for decades in the dark between Neptune and Pluto, warships powered their engines for the first time in years. Massive hangars opened, releasing carriers, destroyers, and dreadnoughts, each painted with the deep grey of Earth's united fleet. In command of it all was Admiral Ren Arcturus, a man forged in silence. His voice carried across every channel as his crews prepared for war. The galaxy will not fight for us, but that does not matter. We fight for humanity. We fight for survival. And survival means victory. On Earth itself, families watched as soldiers boarded transports. Sons, daughters, fathers, and mothers walked with grim resolve, their armor black and unyielding. They were not naive. They knew the Zaith had already devoured billions, but they went anyway. The Aegis Protocol, Earth's secret weapon, awakened fully. It spread through the fleets like a second mind, guiding every ship, every formation, every calculation. It thought faster than any admiral, adapting in real time. To the Council, AI warfare was a dangerous taboo. To Earth, it was survival. Kalen Miles stood in the war room of the United Assembly, Leah Verdun by his side as the first reports came in. Zaith fleet sighted near the Helios corridor, a commander announced. Numbers, at least triple what we expected. The Council refused to respond. They called for another vote, another debate. But humanity did not wait. Deploy, Kalen ordered. The galaxy held its breath as Earth's fleet warped into battle for the first time. At Helios, the Zaith waited, a swarm of jagged ships blotting out the system's twin suns. Their fleet dwarfed Earth's, hundreds of shadowed cruisers against a human force of only 60. Alien observers watching from the edges shook their heads. They are outnumbered. Humanity is finished, a Trivax captain muttered. But then the battle began. Human warships moved not like prey but like predators. Their formations shifted with uncanny precision, guided by the Aegis Protocol. Missiles streaked into the void, detonating in brilliant waves that tore through Zaith hulls. Railguns fired slugs at near-light speed, ripping ships in half. When the Zaith tried to swarm, humanity's fleet split apart, drawing them into kill zones. Entire wings of the Shadow Fleet were annihilated in coordinated ambushes. And then came the soldiers. Dropships plunged into the heart of Zaith carriers, their hulls burning through the atmosphere of the alien giants. Human marines stormed aboard, wielding brutal weapons designed for close combat. They fought with rage, with desperation, with something the galaxy had never seen before, a refusal to yield, even when outnumbered. The alien observers, expecting slaughter, were silent. Their jaws hung open as they watched the primitive humans tear the enemy apart. In less than 2 hours, the impossible happened. The Zaith fleet retreated. Their shattered ships vanished into the void, leaving behind wreckage and burning fragments of their dead. In the council chamber, the news arrived like a thunderclap. Impossible, an ambassador shouted. 60 human ships against hundreds, how? They fight like no species we have ever seen, whispered another. They fight like predators. For the first time, fear spread not of the Zaith alone, but of Earth. Kalen Miles entered the chamber uninvited. His uniform was sharp, his eyes blazing with quiet fury. He did not bow, did not wait for permission to speak. You doubted us. You mocked us. You told the galaxy we were weak. Yet it was humanity who faced the Shadow Fleet, and it was humanity who prevailed. The chamber was silent. No one dared laugh this time. Kalen leaned forward, his voice like steel. Understand this, we do not fight for you. We fight because we must. But when humanity rises, we rise with fire. Remember that. He turned and walked out, leaving the council in stunned silence. Outside the chamber, alien citizens whispered in awe and fear. On countless worlds, people replayed the battle footage. Ships moving like hunters, soldiers fighting like demons. The galaxy had mocked humanity. Now they saw the truth. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was the wolf. The galaxy had seen the first glimpse of human fury at Helios. But Helios was only the beginning. In the weeks that followed, Earth struck again and again. Each time the Zaith expected easy prey. Each time they met something else entirely. precision, rage, and a will to fight that bordered on madness. The Battle of Vera's Belt became legend. The Zeeth swarmed the mining colonies there, seeking to cut off vital ore supplies. Earth's fleet warped in, fewer in number, smaller in size. To outsiders it looked suicidal, but the asteroids became humanity's ally. Admiral Arcturus ordered his ships to vanish into the rocks, turning the belt into a hunting ground. The Zeeth stumbled into ambush after ambush, their warships torn apart by railgun fire hidden in the shadows. At one point, a single human destroyer lured 15 Zeeth cruisers into a narrow pass, sacrificing itself to detonate its reactor. The explosion shattered the enemy fleet in seconds. Alien spies broadcast the footage across the stars. Billions watched and billions whispered, "These humans." They fight as if death is nothing. But Earth's vengeance was not only in space. On the frozen moon of Krios, a captured Zeeth biolab was discovered. Inside, horrors waited. Entire species dissected, their DNA twisted into weapons. Council scientists wept at the sight. But the humans did not weep. They acted. Special forces stormed the facility, setting charges on every chamber. Survivors described human soldiers moving like shadows, their helmets glowing red in the icy dark. When the lab exploded in a blaze of fire, Leah Verdon's voice echoed across the galaxy. "This is our answer to monsters. We burn their works until nothing remains." The galaxy began to tremble, not just at the Zeeth, but at humanity's relentless fury. In the council chamber, the debates turned bitter. "This is not a war, it is extermination," shouted the Zalari delegate. "They are savages," hissed the Trivax. "No species fights like this. No species should fight like this." But others whispered the truth. No species can fight like this. Only humans. Kalen Miles stood once more at the center, his voice sharp as a blade. "You call us savages because we do not fight like you. But ask yourselves, who has won a single victory against the Zeeth? You know it is Earth alone. We do not seek your approval. We seek survival. And survival means war without mercy." The Zeeth learned that truth in blood. At the siege of Calith, the Shadow Fleet outnumbered humanity 5-1. But humanity unleashed its greatest weapon, the Aegis Protocol's wrath cycle. Every loss, every death, every human ship destroyed only made the fleet stronger. The protocol adapted instantly, rewriting its tactics, predicting enemy movements before they happened. It was war fought not by logic, but by vengeance encoded in machine learning. By the end, Calith's skies burned with wreckage. The Zeeth fleet lay shattered, and above the smoking world, the human flag hung in the void. Across the galaxy, fear turned to awe. Children of distant species whispered human names as if they were legends. Soldiers painted wolf symbols on their armor, praying for the strength of Earth's warriors. And on worlds once loyal to the Council, rebellions stirred, calling for alliances not with the Council but with humanity. The Council could no longer hide its shame. The chambers where humans were once mocked now echoed with silence whenever Kalen entered. One ambassador finally dared to ask, "Why do you fight with such fury? Why do you burn yourselves to win?" Kalen's answer was quiet, but it shook the chamber. "Because we are human. We are the children of a world that tried to kill us every day. We do not forget. We do not forgive. And when the galaxy mocked us, it taught us one lesson. When survival is denied, revenge becomes our fire." Somewhere in the dark, the Zeeth gathered again, preparing for a war greater than any before. But now for the first time they hesitated. For the first time, the predators had found prey that bit back. And in the silence between stars, the galaxy wondered. If this was humanity's revenge, what would happen when they finally went on the attack? For months the galaxy watched as Earth fought alone. Each human victory carved fear into the Zeeth and shame into the Council. But Kalen Miles' new defense was not enough. "If we wait, they will keep coming," he told the Assembly. "If we strike, we take the war to them." And for the first time, the Zeeth will know fear. The plan was unthinkable, an assault deep into enemy territory. No Council fleet had ever dared such a thing. Even whispers of the Zeeth's home sectors filled most species with dread. But the humans did not whisper. They prepared. The Aegis Protocol mapped the route, a hidden corridor through collapsed star lanes where enemy patrols were weakest. It was suicide to any other fleet. To humanity, it was opportunity. At the head of the strike force stood Admiral Arcturus, his fleet cloaked in silence, every ship painted black to blend with the void. Soldiers called it the Ghost Armada. Leah Verdun, now the Assembly's envoy of war, stood beside Kaelin at the command dais. Her voice was steady, though her eyes betrayed the weight of what they were about to attempt. "Once we cross, there is no going back." Kaelin nodded. "Then we make sure there is no need to." The first target was a Zaith fortress world, a nightmare planet of spires and black towers, where enslaved species were worked to death to fuel the war machine. The attack began at midnight local time. Human ships appeared from the void, silent as shadows. In moments, railguns and plasma fire tore into the orbital stations. The fortress fleet scrambled to respond, but their comms failed. Their sensors went blind. The Aegis protocol had slipped into their systems, turning their own defenses against them. Cannons rotated and fired on Zaith ships. Shields collapsed. Panic spread. On the ground, human dropships roared through the black skies. Soldiers stormed the camps, breaking chains, cutting down guards. The enslaved looked up to see armored figures with the wolf sigil blazing on their chests. For the first time, hope flickered in their eyes. When the fortress fell, the humans did not stay. They planted explosives in every war factory, every biolab, every command node. And as they left, the world burned, the sky lit by the fire of vengeance. News of the strike spread like wildfire. Entire star systems that had once doubted Earth now chanted its name. Rebellions broke out across Zaith-occupied space, inspired by the ghosts from Earth. But in the council chamber, the mood was darker. "This is madness," hissed the Trivax delegate. "They will provoke the Zaith into total war," shouted another. Kaelin stood, his voice calm yet unyielding. "They already waged total war. We are simply returning it." The Kraith warlord, once Earth's loudest mocker, growled low. His scarred claws tapped the table. "They fight like predators, perhaps they are what we need." The chamber fell silent. The balance was shifting. Deep in the shadow of space, the Zaith gathered their high war council. For the first time in centuries, they felt something unfamiliar, doubt. "These humans strike at our core," one of the Shadow Lords hissed. "They free our prey. They burn our worlds." Another snarled, claws raking metal. "Then we crush them. We send the great swarm, leave nothing alive." Yet in the silence that followed, none spoke with certainty. For the first time in their history, the predators of the galaxy had met prey that hunted them back. And far away in the quiet of Earth's war room, Kaelin Miles whispered the words that would define humanity's path. "This is not revenge anymore. This is survival for all." The galaxy trembled on the edge of destruction. The great swarm of the Zaith rose from the void, a fleet so vast it blotted out starlight. Billions of lives hung in the balance. Worlds fell silent one after another, their last signals ending in screams. Even the Council's strongest allies whispered that it was the end, but Earth was ready. In the war room beneath the oceans of Europa, the Aegis protocol reached its final stage. Screens glowed with thousands of red icons, each representing a human fleet waiting in silence. Admiral Arcturus, scarred and unyielding, stood before his captains. "Today," he said, his voice steady, "we stop running. Today we end the swarm." Beside him, Kaelin Miles spoke the words that would be remembered for centuries. "The Council mocked us. The galaxy doubted us. But survival has never been given to humanity. It has always been taken. And tonight, we take it again." The battle began at Erindor Rift, a shattered system where gravity storms twisted space. The Zaith swarmed in, confident that no fleet could stand against them. And then the void lit up. From hidden positions within the rift, Earth's fleets struck. Railguns roared, plasma storms erupted, and swarms of drones poured forth like living fire. The Aegis protocol guided every movement, turning chaos into a deadly dance. The rift itself became humanity's weapon. Zaith cruisers were lured into unstable gravity wells, torn apart by their own momentum. Human frigates darted through the storms, striking and vanishing before the swarm could react. Still, the Zaith numbers seemed endless. For every fleet destroyed, more arrived. Humanity bled. Ships shattered. Soldiers gave their lives, and yet they fought on. On the bridge of the flagship Dauntless, Leah Verdun watched casualty reports scroll past, her voice breaking as she whispered, "There are too many." Kaelin's reply was cold steel. "Then we show them what too many means to humans." He turned to Admiral Arcturus. "Unleash the Wrath cycle." The Aegis protocol entered its final phase. Every human loss became fuel. Every destroyed ship fed data into the network, rewriting strategies in real time. The enemy found itself fighting not a fleet, but a living storm of vengeance. Human ships rammed enemy cruisers head-on. Damaged frigates detonated themselves in the heart of swarms. Every death was a weapon. Every sacrifice carved another wound into the Zeeth. The rift burned. At last the swarm faltered. Their perfect rhythm collapsed. Fear, alien, unfamiliar fear spread through their ranks. For the first time in millennia, the predators broke. The Zeeth retreated. When silence fell, the stars over Erindor Rift were filled with wreckage, both human and Zeeth. The cost was unthinkable. But the swarm was broken. The galaxy was free. The council chamber fell into silence as Kalen Miles entered once more. No one mocked him now. No one dared. He stood tall, his uniform scarred from battle, his voice heavy with the weight of victory and loss. Humanity warned you. You did not listen. Humanity fought. You watched. Humanity bled, and still we stood. Remember this. We are not your children. We are not your savages. We are not prey. We are the fire that will not die. The chamber bowed their heads. For the first time in history, the galaxy understood. On distant worlds, children of every species whispered the same word in reverence. Human, the wolf sigil of Earth spread across banners, armor, and songs. Humanity had gone from the mocked outcasts of the council to the saviors of civilization. And in the quiet of his chambers, Kalen Miles looked out at the stars and whispered to himself, "They will never mock us again." The galaxy was forever changed. The age of humanity had begun.